Let's take a look at interest and compound interest. Now, you can use a calculator for all these questions because there's some fairly difficult multipliers. Very quickly, just to explain the multipliers in case you're wondering where these numbers come from. If I said to you to work out 23% of an amount, you would probably, well, I normally teach people to use the multiplier 0.23. So if you're working out 23% of, I don't know, £500, the calculation is 0.23 times by 500. Now, if you want to increase by 23%, instead of using 0.23, add 1 to this figure. So it would be 1.23 times times by 500 if you wanted to increase by 23%. So 0.23, that's the basic multiplier for 23%, and 1.23 if you want to increase by 23%. If it was, say, 7%, then your basic multiplier is 0.07. That's to calculate 7% of an amount. But if you wanted to increase an amount by 7%, use 1.07. So this is where all these funny numbers are coming from. So 1a, we want to increase 100 by 7%. So that's 100 multiplied by 1.07, which is £107. Here it's 15,000 multiplied by 1.01, which is 15,150. C is going to be 50 multiplied by 1.04, that is £52. D, 350 multiplied by 1.18 comes to £413. And E, 31 multiplied by 1.03, that comes to £31 and 93p. Continuing, here we're going to have 116 multiplied by 1.49, and that comes to £172.84. Here we've got £25.50 multiplied by 1.02, which is £26 and a penny. Here we've got 16,384 multiplied by 1.28, which is £20,971.52. And this is a tricky one. To calculate 112% of an amount, the multiplier is 1.12. So to increase by this amount, we would add 1, so 2.12 multiplied by 65, and that comes to £137.80. A 100% increase means you're doubling it, so here we're more than doubling it. And finally, 998.50 multiplied by 1.06, that comes to a total of £1,058.41. So, in account A, Alice is investing £1,000, and after 1 year her bank balance will increase by 5%. So if I multiply that by 1.05, she'll now have 1,050 in the account, so therefore £50 interest. In B is going to be 4,000 times by 1.02, which comes to 4,080, so therefore she's earned £80 interest. And in C it's going to be 750 multiplied by 1.1, which is 825, so therefore 825 minus 750, that is £75 interest. And in D it's going to be 10,000 multiplied by 1.01, which is 10,100, so the interest amount is £100. So for question number 3, we need to determine the total amount of money after interest has been added for the 3 options, and then state which one has the highest total amount after we've applied the interest. So 3A, 1% interest on £10,000. The calculation is 10,000 times 1.01, and that comes to a total of 10,100. For B, 2% on 9,900, that's 9,900 times 1.02, and that comes to a total of 10,098. And 9810 times by 1.03 comes to a total of 10104 and 30 pence. So the highest amount is clearly option C. For 3B, it's going to be 15,000 times 1.12. That comes to 16,800. For B, it's
18,000 multiplied by 1.10, or simply 1.1, and that comes to a total of 19,800. And finally, C is 13,000 multiplied by 1.15, and that comes to 14,950. So option B is the greatest amount. For 3C, it's going to be 100 times 1.06, 130 times 1.04, and 115 times 1.05, and that will give us 106, £135.20, and £120.75. So option B is the greatest amount. For D, it's going to be 199 times by 1.29, B is 249 times 1.24, and C is £149 times 1.34, and that's going to give us a total of 256.71 for A, 308.76 for B, and for C, £199.66. So option B is the greatest amount. And finally for E, it's going to be £10.40 multiplied by 1.25, £10 times 1.24, and £11 times 1.23. That will give us a total of £13, £12.40, and £13.53 respectively. So therefore option C is the greatest amount.
Now question number 4. So let's have a look at Alice. So she's investing 15,000 at 1%. So her bank balance will increase by 1% after a year. So 15,000 times 1.01 means her new balance is going to be 15,150. So the interest will be 150. For Bob, it's going to be 9,000 multiplied by 1.03, which is 9,270. So the interest is 270. Chloe is going to be 10,000 multiplied by 1.02, which will turn it into £10,200. So the interest amount is 200. So who has the most interest? Well, that's Bob. Who has the most money at the end? It's going to be Alice. Question number 5. So each of these amounts are deposited into a savings account with 2% interest per year for 3 years. So that means every year we are going to increase this amount by 2%. So what we need to do is 1,000 multiplied by 1.02, and that will give us the balance after 1 year. And then this new balance will multiply by 1.02 again to give us the balance after the second year. And then at the end of year 2, we can multiply it by 1.02 again to give us the balance after 3 years. But it's a lot easier just to do 1.02 times 1.02 times 1.02, and that will turn into, to the nearest penny, is going to be £1,061.21. So all we need to do is exactly the same thing, multiply all of these by 1.02 times 1.02 times by 1.02, or if you've got a fancy calculator, multiply by 1.02 to the power of 3, and we should end up with the following answers. So for B, it's going to be 106.12. For C, is going to be £265.30. For D is going to be £3,608.11, and for E is going to be £152.81. So again, we've got another question where we're keeping the money in for several years. So for Alice, it's going to be 15,000 multiplied by 1.01 times by 1.01 times by 1.01, and that comes to a total of 15454.52. So therefore the interest is going to be £454.52. Bob is going to be 9,000 times by 1.03 times by 1.03 times by 1.03, and that will take Bob up to £9,834.54. So his interest is going to be £834.54 over the 3-year period. And for Chloe, it's going to be 10,000 multiplied by 1.021 times by 1.021. Got to be careful with this one. If you're struggling with the multiplier, remember, divide that by 100. So it's going to be 0.021 and then add 1 to it. That's where this number comes from. So multiply it by 1.021 3 times, and that will turn the 10,000 into £10,643.32. So the interest is 64332. So who earns the most interest? Well, that is going to be Bob. And who has the most money at the end? 10,643, 15,454. So Alice is going to have the most money at the end.
So for question number 7, we are asked how much money A, B and C produce and which one produces the most. Now we need to be careful here because here it's not for 1 year, it's for multiple years. So here it's 2 years and 3 years. So our calculation usually would be 10,000 multiplied by 1.01. But because this is for 2 years, the calculation is going to be 10,000 multiplied by 1.01 and then multiplied by 1.01 again because this is for 2 years. And this comes to a total of 10,201. The calculation for B is going to be 9,800 times 1.08 times 1.08, and that comes to a total of £11,430.72. And for C, it's 9,640 times 1.05 times 1.05 times 1.05 because it's 3 years, so it's 3 lots of the 1.05, and that comes to a total of £11,159. And if we round it to the nearest penny, 51p, it doesn't really matter about the rounding because we can clearly see that B is the most. For 7b, the calculation is 110,000 times 1.19 times 1.19, and that will give us a total of 155,771. For B, the calculation is 130,000 multiplied by 1.18 times 1.18 times 1.18, so 3 lots of 1.18 because it's 3 years, and that will take us to a new total of 213,594 and 16p. And for C, again it's 3 years, so the multiplier at 1.10 or 1.1 is going to be used 3 times, so 199,000 times 1.1 times 1.1 times 1.1, and that will give us a total of 264,869. So C gives us the most. For C, we are going to do 1.06 times £10 times 1.06 times 1.06 times 1.06. B, we're going to do £13 times 1.04 times 1.04, and C, £11.50 times 1.05 times 1.05 times 1.05, and that will give us new totals of £11.91. B will be £14.06, and C will be £13.31, just rounding them to the nearest penny, so we can see that B produces the most.
Question 8 is quite a tricky one, so this is definitely a question where you might need to read it a few times so that you make sure that you fully understand each part of the question. What we've got here are Courtney's household expenses. Some are monthly, some are yearly, and some are weekly. So her total budget for the year, well, that means we are going to need to multiply anything that is monthly by 12, anything per year we'll leave it as it is, and anything weekly multiply by 52. So the rent, we're going to multiply that by 12, water stays as it is, energy is times 12, phone is times 12, as is internet, food is times by 52, clothes is times 12, entertainment times 52, miscellaneous times 52, and 100 per month, this one here multiplied by 12. So 875 multiplied by 12 comes to 10,500. 220 is just 220. 12 times 45 is 540. 12 times by 30 is 360. 12 times 28 is 336. 24 times 52 is 1,248. 12 times 20 is 240. 52 multiplied by 15 is 780. 52 times 10 is 520, and 100 times 12 is 1200. Now all we need to do is add up all of these figures using our calculator, and that comes to a total of £15,944. Part B, if her take-home pay after tax is £18,000 per year, is she earning enough money? Well, she is earning enough money because she's earning £18,000 and she just needs to pay expenses totaling £15,944. So yes, she's got more than enough, and in fact she's got a bit left over. Now if she contributed 3% of her take-home salary, and remember her take-home pay is £18,000 per year, she's contributing 3% to a pension scheme, how much money would she be left with per year? Well, if she's donating 3% to her pension, then that means she's got 97% of the rest. So what is 97% of 18,000? That's 0.97 multiplied by 18,000, and that comes to a total of 17,460. Alternatively, you could work out what 3% of 18,000 is by doing 0.03 times by 18,000. 3% of 18,000 is 540, and now if you just subtract this from the 18,000, we get the 17,460. So there's two ways you can do it: work out 3% and subtract it, or remember that if she's giving 3% away, then she's keeping 97%, so just work out 97% of the total. Part D, if her take-home pay is now 25,000, so it's gone up from this amount here, how much extra money does she have per month? So all we need to do is work out the difference between 25,000 and 17,460, work that out, and then divide by 12. And if we type into our calculator 25,000, take away the 17,460, it is 7,540, but really don't care about what that figure is because all I'm going to do is divide it by 12. I'm only interested in what it is per month, and that comes to a total of £628.33.
Question 9 is a tax question. Part A is relatively straightforward. In the UK, income tax is not paid on salaries below 12,570, so who pays no income tax? Well, that is Carl, as he's the only person that earns a salary that is lower than 12,570. Part B, we need to work out how much tax Andy pays. Well, the first 12,570 is 0% tax, so he pays no tax on the first 12,570. But the remainder, he's taxed at 20%. So what is left? So what we need to do is to subtract the 12,570 from his total earnings, which is 28,000, and that comes to a total of £15,430. So this is the figure that he's taxed on at 20%. So all we need to do is work out what 20% of this figure here is. So if we multiply that by 0.2, we'll work out that he pays £3,086 in tax. Now Belle is a bit more complicated because she's falls into the higher tax bracket. So for the first 12,570, same as Andy, 0% tax. Then between 12,570 and 50,270, she's taxed at 20%. And then for the rest of her salary, she's taxed at 40%. So that's going to be 50,270 all the way to her earnings of 55,000. That's a tax rate of 40%. So all we need to do is work out, well, what is the figure that she's going to be taxed at 20% at? So it's 50,270 minus the 12,570. That is a total of 37,700. So this is the figure that she's taxed on at 20%. So we need to multiply that by 0.2, and that comes to a total of 7,540. And anything above this amount she's taxed on at 40%. So the amount that she pays tax on at 40% is going to be 50,000 minus 50,270, and that is a total of £4,730. So this is the figure that she's taxed on at 40%, so we need to multiply that by 0.4, and that comes to a total of 1,892. So therefore the total amount of tax she pays this amount on her salary between 12 and 50,000, and she pays this amount on anything above the 50,000. Again, I'm just approximating here. But if we add them together, her total tax bill will be £9,432.